All right, welcome to Training Tuesday. It's been fun, hasn't it? So I want to do the most important thing for this Training Tuesday, and I want to say Happy Veterans Day. And for all of you out there who have served or are in the room with me or on the call, thank you for your service and Happy Veterans Day. I know all of us here at Dayton, Spear and Simons are very proud of you, and we really appreciate that. So now that we've got everything underway and you can see us and hear us, and you know that Scott Perry is our awesome guy who's going to be providing us with this presentation today, let me tell you a little bit about Scott. He is our chemical guy in the, what region are you in? The Northeast, right?
Northeast.
Yeah.
Yep, Northeast.
And
Yep.
he's been in this industry for like 40 years. Not quite like Chuck, right? But he's
Mhm.
close. They're buddies. And then he's my buddy
Mhm.
too. He's been hanging at Dayton Superior for over 20 years, handling all types of accounts, helping others in the industry and his customers specifically to understand the key concerns on construction products such as accessories and obviously chemicals as well. And he's been an integral part to the sales organization. I mean, I guess I've been here 10 years and I've known him pretty much at least 9 of them. And I, really like this guy. So I'm going to keep on going because we missed out on 5 minutes. Do want to make the statement that this presentation is intended for training purposes only. So anything that we're going to talk about as far as products, please go to DaytonSuperior.com, check out safety data sheets, technical data sheets, you name it. And I'm going to fly through these for sake of time. I hope you know that we have all the solutions. Here's a bunch of product lines and brands that are coming up on your screen right now. And yeah, we are one-stop shop for you, whether it's accessories, forming, or chemicals. But today we're going to be talking about densifiers. And Mr. Scott Perry, take it away.
Very good. Thank you, Heidi. I can just get the presentation going here.
Fun times with technical. So
Oh, no.
that's all right. Let's see here.
Okay. Well, anyway, if you can get me back to where I need to be.
I did. Try it out.
And
Try it out, Scott.
yeah,
There
I
you go.
am trying. There we go. Got it. All right. Objectives. What we're going to try to achieve here, but thanks to everybody for coming on and being here for the Densifier program. Oop, there we go. Now we got it. But I just wanted to go over some of the objectives that we have. And, what we're going to do is go over what are liquid densifiers and how they work. We're also going to, go into the benefits of liquid densifiers. Some of the industry standards that we have. Dayton Superior liquid densifiers, what we do have to help support the densifying market, and then some application techniques that we have. All right. Liquid densifiers, what are they? It's a chemical applied to concrete that protects, seal, hardens, dustproof, and exposed concrete surfaces. The densifiers, what they do is okay, there we go. How they work, they're silicates. They react chemically with the calcium hydroxide, which in the industry, they say free lime of the concrete. This produces more of the strength producing calcium silicate hydrate gel. So it is a gel that helps densify the capillaries. These gels harden, densifies, and strengthens the concrete from within. All right. Liquid densifiers may use various agents to accomplish the hardening, sealing, dustproofing, such as potassium, magnesium, sodium silicates, siliconates, lithium, and other agents. Dayton Superior, we offer 3 different types of densifiers: sodium silicates, silicate, and siliconate, a blend, and then lithium. And just by comparison, as you see on the right side there, what they're showing there is the different molecular comparison with the potassium silicates, the sodium silicates, and the lithium silicates. And as you can see, as you get to the lithiums, those molecules get smaller. Being able to have smaller molecules, they will penetrate deeper into your substrate. Now, there's applications for all three of these. And, that just depends on how they absorb into the concrete. A tight surface, you'll need to have a lithium because it's a smaller molecule. On a more porous surface, you want to use a larger molecule. So that helps, in driving that material into the concrete. Untreated floors. This is just a picture of how untreated floors look after the hydration process has you've gone through the hydration process. And what it shows is that with this, you'll see a lot of capillaries that are uncoated, and you can't see this by eye on the top surface. But if you go into magnification, this is what the concrete would look like. It's a hard sponge looking for something to absorb. So with that being said, as you can see here, with an uncoated concrete, you can see that light is going to refract off of this. So you'll see like a lot of, dull surfaces, what you will get. Once you have treated the floor though, and or polished the floor, what will happen is all those capillaries, what they'll do is they get coated, and they will, they produce the calcium silicate hydroxide. And basically what it does is it just forms that paste, and it thickens up and it fills in all those voids. Liquid tensifier benefits. They reduce the porosity to enhance the resistance to water absorption in staining. Densifiers, what they really do, you guys, is they change the composition of the concrete on the top surface. It reacts with the mineral calcium hydroxide, and then it converts to CSH, calcium silicate hydroxide. The benefits of this, it increases the wear surface, the wearing strength, abrasion resistance, lowers moisture intrusion, efflorescence. If you ever see any kind of whitening on that top surface, that is efflorescence that's being driven up through the concrete. It also reduces pitting. It reduces the spalling, and then also prevents any kind of freeze thaw. It reduces moisture vapor transmission. So if you ever have gone into your garage and you have, a box that's sitting on the floor, and then all of a sudden you pick the box up and it's wet underneath, that is moisture vapor transmission. And this will reduce that because it has really densified that top surface. It also reduces black tire marks. It's colorless, odorless. So if you do get in an enclosed environment, you don't smell it. It also is a low VOC, and it is water-based. On this particular picture, it can be used for decorative concrete. On here, you can see where they've used stains to enhance the surface. This looks like polished concrete here. And basically, I just wanted to show this just so you know that it does work on decorative concrete also. Where are densifiers used? They're used in a lot of different applications. As you can see here, as everything pops up, warehouse floors. Big box retails. If anybody's been into these big box retails, you'll see that it's a polished surface. It really reflects the lighting on it, and it looks very presentable. They do it in manufacturing plants, food processing plants, in garages and utility floors. As you can see, you go into some of these, tire stores or mechanic stores, you'll see that they'll have polished concretes. Breweries, wineries,
Woohoo!
auto
That's for
dealers.
me. That's for me, Scott.
Yeah, I know, especially in those areas that have the wineries and the breweries. We have plenty of them here in Michigan. Auto detailers, dealerships. You'll see a lot of their showrooms that have that's in there, and also their work bays. And in schools, it's becoming more and more popular in schools where they can pretty much get a maintenance-free floor here. Industry standards on polished and sealed. Polished concrete is an architectural finish that combines diamond grinding, honing, polishing to produce a smooth surface that is durable and light reflective. And it's very easy to maintain. On here, what you can see, this is actually in a private home where they're actually using a burnishing machine here. And they're using that to polish this concrete. They also have a grinder on the right-hand side where they're grinding any kind of, excess, glue or adhesive that it may have been down previously. So you really got to clean that up and make sure that you have a good, sound concrete. There are industry standards. This is published by Concrete Polishing Council. And basically what this is showing you here is, an appearance chart, or you have an appearance and an aggregate exposure chart. The one on the left is an aggregate exposure chart. And basically what you can see is 3 different levels of the concrete. And, in level A, you've got your cement fines. So those are the fines that you get when you start getting your final finish, whether it's a float finish or if it's a hard trowel finish, this is what you'll have. And then once you break through that top surface, there's a fine aggregate finish. So that particular area is more of a sand finish. You'll see your fines as in sands, and that is a B, a class B. And then once if you start getting through the class B or through the fine aggregate, you're going to find yourself into the coarse aggregate. And in that, once you get down to that spot, you really get a good looking salt and pepper. So you'll have different aggregates that will show, that will shine, if you're using the right polishing or diamond grinder to get yourself to that point. And, it really makes a nice looking, finish. And then you have the appearance. You have the flat appearance, which is basically if you're just going to use that top, class A surface, it'll be flat. Images, they'll look, it won't have a high reflectivity, more of a flat appearance. Satin, it's going to be like a satin paint, right? There's a little bit of shine there, but not a whole lot. And then once you get, into a polished surface, the images of objects being reflected do not have a sharp or crisp appearance, but you can still see them. And then you can get into the highly polished areas. And, if anybody's been into these big box stores, you'll see that, on a highly polished surface, you can actually see the canned lighting in the floors, but it really lightens up a room and just gives you a much better, for those that have old eyes like myself, I can see things a lot better. Are we moving?
Yep. So
Okay.
tell us how we can help people.
Okay, I'll get moving. How can Dayton Superior assist in your next project? As you can see, we have different types of hardeners. We have the J13, which is a sodium silicate, cost effective, helps dust proof. It can be used on old or newer concrete, does not form any kind of membrane. It's a treated surface, will accept most floor finishes. So if you put this down and you're putting a different floor finish over the top of it, it will accept that. Excuse me. And also, it does meet ANSA standard 61, which is potable water. And then also it's a CDPH V110, which is for indoor air quality standard is what that is. We also have the densifier concentrate, J12. What that is it's a concentrate. It's the same as the J13, but it's concentrate. So you do add, water to that to help cut, because I know those people that are looking for a cost-effective way to ship things, they don't want to ship water, so they just want the concentrate, and they will mix in the water at the job site. We also have the SureHard densifier, J17. This is a sodium silicate. This seals, hardens, dust-proof concrete floor slabs. It polishes to develop a sheen that will not peel off. Again, this is integral to the concrete. It resists black marks from rubber tires. You scrub this in on the installation, and it does meet those air quality standards. Pentra Hard for more, you're looking for a densifier that this one came out in the say mid 2000s, about 2008, 2009. But the lithium densifier is becoming more and more popular in the standard in the industry now. These are lithium-based densifiers. It seals, hardens, dust proofs concrete floors, can be applied to fresh concrete. Although, for best results, you usually want to wait 14 to 28 days, because you really want the concrete to hydrate, get rid of all of that moisture out of there, so you get a deeper penetration, with the product. It resists stains and dusting. It polishes to develop a high sheen that will not peel off, increases it. Treated floors are easier to clean and maintain, does not contribute to alkali silica aggregates. So ASR can be applied to colored concrete also. Let's go back on that one. I just wanted to touch on just some of the projects that we did use this on. This is an Amazon project that was in Lebanon, Tennessee, that we used Pentra Hard densifier. We put that down right after they finished off the concrete surface, put the densifier on, and then they were able to apply, this is a tilt-up building, and they were able to apply our J6WB, our bond breaker. So that's a very compatible product with our bond breakers, and it just speeds up the process for construction, because once those panels have been lifted, you can go back in, clean the floor, get that bond breaker off, and then you have your densified floor already. Pentra Hard Guard liquid densifier. This is applied to concrete 28 days old. This is part of our durable floor system. When applied on the floor, treated with Pentra Hard densifier. So this goes over the densifier. It's a lithium fortified high performance finish, stain and wear protector. It will not peel and flake. Provides a high sheen, dries quickly. So as you can see in this photo, you can see the difference, between before and after picture there, where you get a high sheen on the on that surface. But this is a great product if you want to come back and spiff up the floor. So if you do seem to, or if they do seem to think that it's not reflecting like it, the light like it used to, you can come back in and you can reapply this material. And then we also have the Pentra Hard finish. This is a higher solids content version of the Pentra Hard Guard. It's applied in the concrete that is at least 28 days old in part of the durable floor system. When applied on floor, and this can be applied on floor treated with Pentra Hard Densifier. The application review. Sure Hard Densifier J17. You know, what you want to do is before you start applying any material, make sure that you have all of the curing compounds or any kind of mastics or, you know, any kind of dirt or dust or debris. Make sure you clean that off. You flood the area. Once you flood this area, you move it around with a soft bristle broom, you know, wet out with it, and then keep continuously wet. So you want to keep continually agitating that product. You know, you can work and scrub material in with surface. You can use ride-on scrubbers that help you, you know, the application if you have large applications. You can also use swing scrubbers that they have there. Once you have worked that in for 15 to 20 minutes, you want to go around and re-wet that with water. That way, you give it, because what will happen is that this will start to gel. And you can feel that gel too, because the floor will get real slippery. And once you start feeling that, start applying your water on top of that. And what that'll do is thin that gel surface out, and then it'll also make that product penetrate further into the capillaries of the concrete. There you go. It says work again for another 5 to 10 minutes. You know, once you're re-wetted, I always like this picture at the bottom. Rinse treated area with flooded completely with water. Is that Niagara? Yes. But yes. Anyway, this is important, you guys, because on the J17 or any kind of sodium silicate, if you don't get it all off the floor, you'll see a whitening haze on there. And once that dries, it'll either wear off or you got to scrub it off. And we don't want that. So I usually tell my customers that you go ahead, rinse and rinse again. And if you're not sure, rinse it a third time. But you just want to be able to get all of that material up off of the floor so you don't get any whitening. You know, again, remove water completely by vacuum or squeegeeing off. And I know on some of these ride-on, you know, tenant scrubbers and things like that, they have vacuums in it. So those you know, we just got to make sure that remove this. The Sure Hard Densifier, you know, this is just a application guide to go by. You can find this on the web page, but it just kind of goes through what the description is, what the uses are, surface preparation, which is very important. Make sure you do that. You know, mixing, you always want to mix the material up just in case you get any kind of settling with the material. You know, placement procedures. And then also it gets into, you know, be sure to keep the surface continuously wet, because you just want to make sure that that product is driven down in those capillaries as much as possible. This particular one they're showing you is that they're using J17 densifier, and then also what they're doing is removing a cure and seal product. And as you can see with cure and seal products, they're good products, but once you drive over them, they're kind of soft. So they're going to trap any kind of dirt that you have on this concrete surface. Okay, so make sure that you can remove this completely, and then you go ahead and you apply your J17. But you can already see that you've got better lighting in here. It just looks much better, when you use the J17. I prefer this product, over any kind of cure and seal, especially in warehouse conditions. Pentrahard densifier, applying it over freshly placed concrete. It may be applied immediately after finishing, and you make sure that make sure the joints have been cut and cleaned. Use a high volume, low pressure spray. When I say the joints, when they start cutting these joints, you get some, you'll always get that splash to the side of concrete. So you want to make sure that you clean that all, the slag or the sludge that comes out of that saw cut joint. But you want to clean that up, because if you don't, you're going to trap it in there and it doesn't look really good. Spread out, use a high volume, low pressure sprayer or a good pump up sprayer. Make sure you spread out any pools. Concrete isn't completely flat. There are flat floors out there, but you want to make sure that if it pools or ponds anywhere, make sure you move that out of there so you don't have excess material in there, because it will change colors just from a standpoint of it's pooled there and it's going to dry. Surface is ready when Pentrahard is dry. Applying freshly placed concrete, Pentrahard densifier, using a membrane forming curing compound like our clear VOC J7 WB or bond breakers can be applied over the top of the Pentrahard densifier once it is no longer wet on the surface. So you put your final finish on, let that let that surface dry a little bit. Then you come over the top with the densifier. Once that densifier has, or the Pentrahard has dried, then you come over it with your curing compound. The J7WP is a great product for inside use. It does not need ultraviolet light to break down. This breaks down on its own. So it's a great product that we came out with, maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. But as you can see in here, it can be removed very easy. Up in the corners of the columns there, they just weren't able to get in that with a swing scrubber, but you can come in with a portable grinder and you can grind that all off and make it look good, like the aisleway that you see on the picture on the left. It can be applied over older concrete. So this is a rehab project where, they're going in, they're rehabbing the floor, they're getting all the mastic off the floor, they're repairing all of the joints that may be breaking off. And then what they'll do is they'll come in and they'll polish. As you can see there, that's a C-class finish. They're burning down into or grinding down into the aggregate, and it shows that salt and pepper finish. And then once you get to this point, you go ahead and you have your Pentrahard applied. This is a application guideline that we have for the durable floor systems. This kind of goes through the Pentrahard densifier. It goes through the guard, and then it will go through all of the key features and benefits and the ease of application with the durable floor system. The durable floor systems, even, on this particular one, this is a new church that they wanted to really use this canned lighting up here. So they wanted it to really reflect off the floor. So they thought a polished floor would give them that reflectivity, which it did. So they came in, they polished the floor, cleaned the floor, applied, the clean floor with a high volume sprayer. Kept the microfiber mop moving easily, kept the wet edge through the entire process. They let dry 30 to 45 minutes, and they came in and burnt, they polished it, high polish with a burnisher and a 1500 pan. You guys, on this, a floor scrubber is not going to, get you to that high shine. So really what you got to do is you got to get yourself a burnisher. And those usually, they just run at a higher RPM. So floor burnishing will get you this kind of shine. It will not get you, using just a regular floor scrubber won't do that. That's about 175 RPM, where the floor burnishers, they're more like around, 2 to 4,000 RPMs, and that will get you this burnished in look. And then residential applications. This was an existing home that they came in and cleaned up. The floor was left unprotected during construction. Sheetrock, mud, paint were on the floors. They scrubbed, vacuumed, and mopped several times. And basically they came out with a real nice looking, light reflective floor in the area.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. I'll take it from here with the resources, although you've already said a couple really great ones with the application guides.
Thank you,
So,
Heidi. One other thing that I did want to touch on here, you guys. I get this question a lot as to, when do I have to reapply this material? Usually, if you do reapply it, if you see that floor start to dust again, then you reapply, okay? And for those that are making job site visits and want to find this type of densifier floor, you look in Division 3 of the spec book, and that's under concrete. But it's usually under Section 3300, and that's where you'll find if a densifier is being used on the project. That's all from me, Heidi. Thanks a lot.
no,
Thank you
you're great
for coming.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you so much, Scott. So really, let's talk about real quick, if you guys have questions, and one of the comments that Scott put in there, does anybody have a densifier project going on right now? So if you do and you have some questions, we're going to take a couple. I know we're over, but because of technology and cords coming out of computers and going to laptops, yes, that's what happened, why we were late. Yeah, just put in your questions now and we'll get to that information. But like normal, I want to go over what kind of resources are available on DaytonSuperior.com. We've already talked about application guides, technical safety data sheets. We've got the handbooks, the engineering. So basically, how do you find this stuff? Well, we talked about what J13 and I think 12s and all these other different numbers. But if you can't remember, always remember this. Whenever I post the training that we've done on our website, and you just get to that with Training Tuesday, just make that search happen. And there's 2 links. And then every resource that we've gone over will be a link beside that Training Tuesday recording. So in addition, we've got, well, I already talked about the guides, the trainings. These are supposed to be short, quick, insightful. If you need more or customized, just reach out to Chuck and myself. We can even send Scott to you if you're in his region. And we've got some other technical guys out there as well, and gals. Contact information. On the bottom left hand, you'll see the maps. Just click on the state that you're in and you can find your Scotts of the world if he's not in your region. You can find Chuck and I's phone number on there. You can find if you need forming, maybe, chemical and forming go together for whatever project you're doing. You can also go for the Simons guys. So I don't see any questions. If you guys have any, let me know here. Additional resources. I always love this slide when we talk about chemicals because unfortunately Scott's picture's not on there. Sorry, Scott, or maybe you're happy about that. We're gonna pretend he's Nathan right in the middle, and then Chuck's right there on the top. I'm not on there
You got
either,
a
if you
good group of
noticed.
people there.
But this, I love the group of people that we work with, especially with chemicals, is they've got a great technical sales team. You're listening to one right now. We also have the real time problem solving, so the field support, and they can go out there and help you with your challenges and all the great stuff that you heard Scott say. He did some really good information, I think, based on being out on projects, seeing those challenges that come about and saying, hey, if it chalks or if it has that white, reapply, right? Or keep on doing the water or keep on cleaning. It's goopy, be careful, don't, all these great things that will help you feel better about the project, knowing you're doing it right. And that's what we're here for in many ways. So I think, Scott, you are off the hook. For time's sake, you know that you can contact us. Here's the extra training we've got. Simply scan that QR code. I don't see any questions going on. Wait a minute, let me look. Okay, we do have one. What about an auto shop that has oil stains on the concrete? Can this be used on an older auto shop floor that has oil stains? So those kind of go together.
Yeah, you got to remove that oil though, and it just depends on the depth of it. So, you may have to get into some sort of, not a burnisher, but a diamond grinder, some sort of grinder to grind that surface off. And it just depends on how, deep that oil has gotten. Is that surface, whoever asked that, do you have, is it a real hard trowel surface that you're working with, or is it more of a float finish? If you're on, just answer.
Well, they're all muted. I didn't really go through that at the beginning, but he said hard.
Sorry. Hard trowel surface. Okay. So it may be just a, just in that top, eighth of an inch or less is where that oil is. But you got to make sure that you get that oil, oil up, so what you may end up with is more like a Class C type, look, which is going to be a salt and pepper, but it's really going to look nice. But yes, that will have to come up, or that oil will impede any of the Pentrahard or the J17 put down on the depth that it will penetrate. Good question. Thank you.
Very good question. If you have more questions on that, let me know your name and I can get you in contact, or, just send us something at training@daytonsuperior.com and we'll get you in the right person to talk to. I think that's it. Fantastic. We've had a great Tuesday. It's a Veterans Day. It's not snowing that much today, which is strange to say. Although in Michigan, you're probably having snowball fights. So, all right.
We got about, good 11 inches up here. Anyway, good.
My daughter's
back.
up there with you. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your Tuesday and we'll talk to you next week. Chuck will be back and doing his thing. Bye now.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.